Hey everybody, welcome back to the Combat Chain. I am your host, Patrick. Not so fast, Adam. Surgical extraction is surgical extraction, but the booster box could be anything. It could even be a surgical extraction. You know how much I've wanted one of those? I'll take the box. Shaw, and with me as always, is my co-host, Adam, the high-profile free agent, Philip Chuck. Adam, how are we doing today?
We're doing good, Pat. Dynasty came out on Friday. We've opened a ton of boxes. It's been super fun. We get this on 4 cases, 16 boxes. I've opened, guess how many Marvels?
10.
1.
1 Marvel. These pull rates are just atrocious.
One, yeah.
What Marvel was it? What was it?
The Crouching Tiger.
Crouching Tiger Marvel. Good one. I got the mech one. I got the Iron Man suit. Happy about that. I got the Hanabi blaster and the Merciless battle axe. I traded away the battle axe and some pack of gum for the Black Tech Whispers are coming my way. So nice. I'm happy about that. There's more than a pack of gum. I made it equitable for my trading partner, but it worked out pretty well. And I accidentally opened up a playset of surgical extractions. Whose social media is going through a firestorm right now. Most likely because our guest this week may have just bought it out. I don't know if he wants to fluctuate the market. But our guest this week is, in fact, Mr. Pheano Black. Pheano has had a breakout run during the Calling Indianapolis, piloting his Prism deck to a near undefeated record, going into the finals against eventual champion, some guy named Michael Hamilton. He has been certainly accumulating wins before then, but since that, he has been on a tear. Top 64 Pro Tour New Jersey, top 8 Pro Tour Lille, 10th Calling Charlotte. He won the Commoner event in New Jersey to get the lore book, and along the way he has been recognized as one of the biggest personalities and best players on the pro circuit. Please welcome Pheano Black to the program. Pheano, welcome to the Combat Chain.
Why is surgical extraction so much?
You know,
is it like short printed?
Rumor has it Steelfer was on Twitter posting some stuff that the pull rates are super low, but someone bought them out off a card market over in UK, and yeah, they're running about like $40 a pop right now. Because
like anecdotally, they seem short printed. I opened 2 in was it like 54 boxes or something?
Mm-hmm.
Like
I had 2 cases, full play set, so I'm all set. I'm good to go.
Must be nice. Better lucky than good.
Story of my life. Before we get too far with Pheano, I just want to take a little news break here. LSS recently sent their apology to the UK player base for disrupting the Nationals weekend earlier this year, amongst the confusion surrounding the death of Queen Elizabeth. And their apology was a promo version of the card Regicide. So New Zealand really taking the real final parting shot over the bow to Great Britain. Have you guys seen? Did you hear about that?
I thought that was a joke. Did that actually happen?
It's enough for me to say it. I'm assuming it is. I'll tell you what, I've only done superficial research on it, but I've seen it in more than one spot, so I called it good.
Some Fox News research? Someone said it. Yeah. It probably happened.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, someone said it, someone else said it, but it was good enough for me. Hopefully it's true, because it makes the joke really, really good. But no one escapes the origin story. Pheano, who the hell are you, and how the hell did you get here?
I don't know how I got here, man. I'm just some ape. I'm a casual EDH player. I don't know how I've gotten this far. I'm just monkeying my way through these tournaments. I got into the game back during Monarch Unlimited because my Magic scene died. The store that all my boys played at closed during the pandemic. and I tried getting back together my EDH group to play at just somewhere else. Just like, hey, message everyone, let's start getting back together again now that the pandemic's cooling off. And no one was interested in playing anymore. Just everyone's lives had changed. People moved on. So I was like, oh, I kind of need something else to do. And then this game looked cool. The professor made a video about it. Then they announced the Pro Tour, Pro Circuit, whatever, the pyramid thing, announcing all the
the organized play structure, with the Pro Tour and World Championship, yeah.
And then I saw Channel Fireball was picking it up, and they don't normally pick up games. So I'm like, all right, give it a try. And kind of hit the ground running as far as just like the game was a lot of fun, and I was having a good time with it, and was doing well at the RTNs and everything. I was just having a good time playing the game. It was honestly my first time playing a competitive card game in a very long time. Last time I played competitive card games was like maybe 10 years ago. So, and I was not good. So competitive air quotes. I just been enjoying playing the game, making friends, just having fun with the game. The game is so great, so well designed. It's an absolute love letter to gamers.
You really were. You seem to have really taken to the game quickly, because you were winning RTNs, and from what I understand, still trying to wrap your head around some of the mechanics and still learning the game as you go. But collecting gold foils on the way. What about the game specifically kind of draws you in?
I'll have you know, I've never won anything other than that commoner event. I don't have a single living legend point to my name. You can thank me for Prism sticking around as long as you did.
You among many seem to have taken the aforementioned dive to keep Prism alive for as long as possible. Everyone congregating on Twitter, and no, thank me. You can thank me.
Yeah, Living Legend system is broken. I'm incentivized to not win if I want to keep playing my deck.
That's fair. So you are was Prism it for you from day one?
100%. When I first got in, I got the went on TCG Player, and I got the brick of Monarch Blitz decks, and I sat down to play with my buddy James, and I picked up Prism first. I went, she's cute, let's play her. I like angels and stuff. I played one game, and we looked at each other. Run it back, one more game. And then after our second game, we're like, so we're going deep, right? This game is fantastic. And I've literally been a Prism simp since my first game. Just the deck was so much fun to play. More fun once the auras came out. Then it really kind of took shape as like the complete idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right. Or Everfest auras and that meta with Starvo, Prism, Viscerai. I do want to get in the first community question by Gary, aka Mr. Viz, who's been between the two of you blowing up the Combat Chains notifications. He asks, why is Pheano Black the second best simp in the biz? And it sounds more like a challenge than a question.
I mean, it's not much of a challenge. I don't see him taking a need to keep his hero around.
Fortunately, it doesn't have to. I guess the real question is, do you have a yellow full body suit to match his purple?
No, but I want to get a Prism body pillow.
That would keep parity for sure.
I need to commission someone to make me one.
So you've had a hell of a run in Flesh and Blood right now. How much of your world revolves around this game at the moment?
I would say like 100% of my life outside of like family, friends, not even friends, like literally just family. I buy and sell cards for a living and have for a long time. So like I'm just always surrounded by card game stuff. And so now my days are just playing the game, researching the game, buying and selling, trading, doing a lot of community stuff to like teach people the game and like help build the local community, everything, which I know is a question you have coming up here. Mm-hmm. But just like literally every day of the week I'm doing fab stuff now, unless I'm doing stuff with family. And even a bit of that has turned into that. Like, it's so cute. My mom and my grandma now follow me on all these things. They're always like watching the streams, trying to be like, when's he going to be on? When's he going to be on? And I never in a million years thought that my family would be supporting me on this stuff. Just it's crazy to see that. But yeah, the game has just fully taken over my life.
Now, did that was that the trajectory before the calling Indianapolis? Obviously, the calling came and you blew up, right? I'm from the same state as you. I knew who you were because of the results that you were putting up locally, and then we head into the calling Indianapolis, and all of a sudden you're top seed. You're past day one. You're in day two. You're still remaining top seed. You're kicking ass. You're taking names, and no one can stop talking about Pheano Black on stream in the announcer's booth. Basically everywhere, and that culminated in your like hour and 15-minute match with Michael Hamilton in the finals. How much impact did that calling actually have on I suppose where you stand today?
I guess quite a bit. I honestly only went to that calling to grind out some extra XP. I was planning on just going, scrubbing out day one and trying to get some XP from that and then playing side events there, because I thought that I was going to be going to PT1 off of XP. And then I ended up getting an invite at one of the last Pro Quests. And then I was also already there on XP. So I was like, oh, I already paid for this trip. I'm just kind of going for fun at this point. I wasn't planning on like doing good. At this point, I'm like, I'm just some casual scrub going to something. I'm not expecting to do well. That was impactful and everything. Mostly because the memes and all that. That was a good time. I enjoy that the community is slowly turning into a meme fest of. I forget who said it. It was either Fluke or Flake. Maybe it was someone else. I don't remember anymore. Maybe it was Jason. But they were like, it's almost like being a top player now. Getting memed on is like a rite of passage. And I like that the game has turned into that, because for a lot of people, it's like really good for them too. Like, if you just top something and then fade into obscurity, that's like whatever. But like getting memed on, like, oh, like it gets your name out there, people will know you and remember you. And it's fun. I enjoy all of that. I enjoy the memes, the funnies, and it helps build a good community feeling, because most of the time it's in good fun and good spirits. And sometimes you have your odd person here and there that's like maybe goes a little bit too far, but most of the time it's good fun, and I don't know, it's good for the community, I think.
Speaking of community, I'm gonna circle back a few times. I want to stay here for a bit, but our second community question is by Clark Jansen, and he asks, states, I guess, please explain to the people how you built the fab scene in your area. For the people who don't have a local place to play, what can they do to fix that problem themselves?
I built it very aggressively. By literally going to my friends' houses at some points and just being like, so you're playing this game now, right? When I first started, no one played the game in the area. So I started a week one playing the game by going with Jimmy to literally like every store in driving distance that had anything on their calendar, or just stores that like, I don't see that they're running anything, but I have a good relationship with the store and I just want to talk to them about the game. Mm-hmm. And just trying to figure out, like, is there a community anywhere? And it was like maybe a few people here and there, but nothing really. And like I started up an armory at one of the stores that I do stuff at. And at the beginning, it was literally just the two of us and one other person, Tony. So like there was no community at first. And I just basically went to all my Magic friends, all my other card game friends, and just very aggressively was like, do you have a moment for our Lord and Savior Flesh and Blood? And just taught them the game. and I haven't had a single person that I've showed the game to, like that is like actually sat down to play the game, like the first game with me, that hasn't gotten into the game since then. Like I have 100% success rate of showing the people the game and them going, yeah, I'll play this game, and them getting in. And then like when I'm at stuff and I see players playing other games, if they're not doing anything, I'll be like, hey, you wanna out? I'll just sit there with the like I always carry the Ira Learn to Play decks on me, and I'll just sit there teaching people.
My man,
that was one of
that.
Yeah,
that is my favorite way to play this game, is the Ira Welcome deck. That has been a recurring topic on this pod.
Let's play next time.
Yes.
I had an amazing moment at Worlds where I got to play against Jacob Pearson in the Ira Learn to Play meta. We were I don't know if you guys saw the picture I posted with like us at the coffee shop on the last day.
Yes, you had Flake Tan and Sam Yang, and yep.
Yeah. After that, we just sat there playing Ira games. It was such an incredible moment of just like, I can't believe I'm sitting here doing this right now in a coffee shop with Jacob Pearson. Just like, oh my God, how has my life come to this? Just, it's incredible. But I digress. I don't know. I'm always willing to talk about the game. Anyone's like, hey, what are you playing? I start preaching, and people will be interested because like I'm so passionate about it that usually people will like, all right, you seem to really enjoy this game. I'll give it a try if you're willing to teach me. And then like I go out of my way to make sure that people stay with the game. Of like, I don't just teach them the game and then abandon them. Like, all right, go figure it out on your own, idiot. Like we do a lot of teaching in our area. Like I honestly spend most of my time at the armories just sitting there teaching people, shadowing them, trying to explain to them how to think about turn cycles, how to like play their hands better, or like, you know, explaining to them like, oh, like you don't take this line because that's not what matters in this matchup, and like how to set up your end game plan in this matchup, and just sitting there teaching people so that way they can find success when they go to the next thing. Like I'm in the middle of trying to get some people ready for the next ProQuest season in January. Everyone's trying to figure out new decks to play.
That brings up a really interesting side question idea that I've been exploring lately, because what this game needs, like Flesh and Blood needs to survive over the next few years now, is onboarding that larger player base, and like the semi-casual players. And where I'm kind of going with this is the game right now is by nature a fairly competitive game, and like in our local we've been struggling with certainly scaring people away for a few different reasons, though like the scene's very welcoming and very pleasant, and we're happy to show people. Just the compete level alone sometimes is enough to scare people away. And I like right away what you're saying about you do a lot of shadowing, and I think that having people kind of like guided through the concept of how turn cycles can work in Flesh and Blood and different things like that help overcome those first initial hurdles. But one hurdle that I'm curious to ask you about that I've observed is just like, even for the more like anybody who has that competitive drive or a thirst to play good games, they'll buy in quite quickly. They'll feel that that there's a good game here, and then they want to dive into it and explore it. But for that casual kitchen table player, how do you get them to buy into the idea that, hey, yes, this is a really good game, but you might have to put in a little bit of work and overcome a few hurdles to get there? And I think, and that's where that is part of, because unfortunately that's part of where this game is really set apart from Magic, where Magic, you can fumble your way into wins, and in Flesh and Blood, like when you start to play against people who know what they're doing, it's hard to win by accident.
Yeah, we definitely get a lot of that. I would say that the people that the people that I interact with getting into the game kind of fall into like 3 different psychographics. You know, you got that like tournament grinder spike that like, I just want that sense of competitiveness with the game. And that, like you said, that's easy.
Yeah.
You show them the game's good. You show them the OP system. They're like, I don't need anything else. I'm set.
Yeah, they buy
I'll
in.
figure it out.
Yeah.
And then you have the casual player, like you're talking about, where they just want to have fun. And then you have other people that are an odd one that like you don't immediately think about probably. People just looking for community, where there's a lot of people that like I found, because like I mess around sometimes with the more obscure card games, or at least interact with these people a lot. And I find a lot of them will like bounce from card game to card game to card game to card game, and they just want to play a game, but then they don't like Magic or Pokemon or Yu-Gi-Oh, and they're just kind of like looking for a sense of community, place where they belong and they fit in. So like, and that's not something that the card game itself is going to provide. That's more of just like having a good community, a good group, a welcoming community. And we have a lot of people like that in our group, where like, it doesn't matter, like, you know, they're not happy if they're losing, obviously, but they're not like completely distraught if they're losing consistently, because at the end of the day, they're more happy that they have a like a second family type of thing. And I've worked very hard to make sure that our group kind of feels like that, where we take care of each other and look out for each other, and everyone's very wholesome to each other. Like at Jersey, we had a great wholesome moment that I saw, where everyone in my group, without telling anyone each other that this was happening, all started doing Secret Santa for each other. And they were all running around trying to get little gifts for each other and trying to hide it from everyone else in the group so no one would know. And this was just completely unplanned. It just happened, and I just happened to be witnessing it going on. And like, and that's not easy to build a community like that. I can't explain how to really do that, but just like nurturing it and making sure, like, you know, this is how we are in this group. Like we don't tolerate just being jerks and stuff. We're welcoming, we're accepting, we teach, the whole thing, and niceness begets niceness type of thing. But for the casual player, I find that is more difficult. I tend to lean into pushing them into character identity for that, where usually your casual player, so like think of like an EDH player, they're going to gravitate towards certain things in that game where they can find connection with. Like I feel some sort of connection with this deck, some sort of self-expression that I get through it. Classic Johnny player. It's very easy to do that in this game if you can get them to find a connection with a specific hero, where they don't care if they win or lose. They had fun because they're playing that hero. That was me with Prism. Like, I didn't care if I won or lost. I'm playing Prism. Every game is so much fun for me playing Prism. So like for those players, I'll usually start talking to them and be like, what do you like to play in RPGs? Do you play any other games? What do you gravitate towards those games? And what do you find fun in those games? And I'll try to like, oh, you really enjoy playing tanks and you really enjoy kind of being more defensive. Maybe you're going to like Oldhim or Bravo. And they find that connection and that player identity with that character. And they have fun with it because it's fulfilling their player fantasy. Then getting good at the game will come with that, because if they're having fun and they want more, they'll look, find their, and they may not even need that. They may not want that, and they're just perfectly happy playing the character that like connects with them and speaks with them. That's worked for me so far for getting casuals into the game. But PvE, which is hopefully coming soon, is definitely going to be a boon for that. I'm gonna, you're gonna see me disappear. I'm gonna hard pivot into PvE when that comes out.
I've thought that as well, that PvE is, because I guess kind of the way I look at it is that like if you want this game to be as successful as, let's say, or be Magic adjacent in successfulness, well, yes, there's the core grinders and pro scene and all that do support the game, but a lot, like so much of the millions of players who will buy a pack here or there are the EDH players and the things like that. And until we have something like that in Flesh and Blood, the reality is our game won't get that big, and PvE, to your point, is 100% what I've thought gives us the opportunity to get there. I'm very excited to see what we get. I'm hoping it's some sort of have you ever played Gloomhaven?
No.
Pat?
No, I'm sorry. Nope.
So Gloomhaven is this.
I don't do a ton of board games. I'm sorry.
I know that's fair. I'm not a big board gamer, but Gloomhaven is one that's just caught.
Give me something else. Is there? Give me another
I guess.
reference.
I guess after that, D&D is my next hope for where
yeah. That's where I think it needs to be.
And I think James White has already kind of paved that path, with each set where the supplemental sets. Yes, we're getting a lot of things, especially in Dynasty. I think we got things that are more competitively focused, but Everfest, we got all these things that I think a lot of people are like, this is dumb. What purpose does this serve? Weird potions and trinkets and stuff. But then you think about when you are playing an RPG, you go to the market and you buy potions and trinkets that you need for your exactly. Yeah, Pheano's for the viewers that can't see, Pheano's flashing his cold foil potions and I think it's all that's paving paving the way towards
stonks. That's the day PvE comes out. That's you can retire.
I 100% expect PvE to kind of incorporate with that. Where maybe when you start a campaign, you can only equip iron rot, and you have to work your way up to finding your legendary armor, and
so much sense.
You level up your character, and your deck gets better, and you work in a camp. Yoji is such a cool example of a hero that's going to be a healer support character. There's so many things that are indicating that PvE really has this cool potential to just be this really in-depth RPG while still being flesh and blood. And
I just hope that it has more than one way you can play it, where if I want to, I can do this sit down, have a long campaign, and I really want that. But I think what will be good for it, for the longevity of its existence, and also getting casual gamers in, is it having some sort of, I can pick up and do this in a short sitting for 30 minutes with my friends, just hey, we got some time to kill, want to do a quickie type of pickup game.
One shot,
just a dungeon crawl or something like that.
Yeah, arcade mode.
Something I can just have in my backpack. We can. Oh, we got some time to kill. I can fuck around and do this for a bit, and it's not a chore putting it away at the end. Oh, we got to record where we're at and everything. And no, if we're gonna sit down and do the long campaign, we do the long campaign. We want to just have a quickie, we can do that, because that's also way more approachable for someone wanting to get in and just get their feet wet and try it. Because you can't expect a brand new person to sit down for 3 hours or 4 hours doing a long campaign. They're gonna be this is too much. I just want to try it.
Yeah, and to that point as well, part of James White's MO is he wants to get people into the stores to play amongst in the flesh and blood. And in order to do that, you need to be able to make it a way that you can come and go with it easily and digestively, and the nice thing is having a deck right off the bat. Having a deck, all you need is a deck and a piece of paper, and to the recording point or something like that, you can just as the game goes, you just write down. I guess if LSS is really even thinking steps ahead, and they've got a way to incorporate and keep track of everything, hopefully they're working on data tracking sheets of something, maybe even a commemorative data pad that you can buy to play your.
Could be an app. Could be an app.
An app would be really good.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Blood Beyond.
If you're, we've got ideas. If you're listening, LSS.
I have tons of PvE ideas.
A PvE podcast in waiting. Adam, look at you coming alive.
Are you ready to be my guest when I start up Fab instead of game nights?
Yeah.
Do the PvE game nights type of thing? I told you I'm gonna be hard pivoting into PvE when that comes out. Like, I am an EDH player. Like, I am ready for this.
Who's your commander main in EDH?
Depends which power level. So the store that we used to play at had like a really big community, and most of us brought things of all the different power levels, and we were very good about self-policing and bringing like, hey, odd person out that has like one deck. What's your average level? Okay, we're all going to play at your level, so we have an enjoyable experience. My favorite to play was a CEDH Nagila. I just enjoy Nagila. She's one of my favorites to play. Kind of like Prism's got the white weenie aspect of it, go wide tokens. That's one of the things that originally gravitated to me towards Prism. It's got all the tokens I can play. Marchesa, the Monarchy one, that was one of my favorites to play because I enjoyed the sub game of the Monarch. That was just I enjoy sub games. Again, Prism, I enjoy sub games of we're gonna play around auras. I used to enjoy playing Send triplets, but then it got unfun to play. Yeah,
you're a terrible person now. Sorry.
I took it apart.
Not acceptable in any power level. That is one of the things that got me like out of Magic was being unable to find that power level. But not only just that power level, that the type of game that I wanted to play, like I could not find. Flesh and Blood, what it turned out to be that kind of game. And I wanted I was a Yuriko main. But I was like non-infinite combo, but like super heavy hitting Haymaker with more interaction revolved around like destruction and not necessarily counter spells. And like to get that philosophy shared with 3 other opponents and have like the game that I wanted, it was impossible. And it just came down.
It's been a minute. That's the blue black ninja, right?
Yeah, flip the top and everyone loses X life. Also great for large pods. If you have 5-6, because that's what you need to do. I'll try to kill everybody and make it quick. The
only large pod that I ever willingly took place of, because I hate large pods, was we did a 8-player 2-headed giant pod. But that was one of the quickest games I've ever played because it went 3 turn cycles.
Oh,
just. It was one of those moments of these cards shouldn't be on the table together this early into a game. Oops, everyone's dead.
Now let's circle back into Flesh and Blood. I do want to talk about how you've your journey here in high level competitive play in 2022. We talked about how you've kind of started learning the game and still playing at a high level. What kind of structure has your competitive play had coming into as this year has progressed in terms of are you part of it? I know your name is tangential to a few different teams and entities like the Hyperloops and things like that. But what do you have a regimen here? Are you structuring your practice and prep going to a high level event like Worlds or Pro Tour Lille, or are you just fucking guns blazing here?
A little bit guns blazing.
When you hear it's like, all right, maybe he's just winging it. All right,
a little bit. So it's funny. Nationals is the worst I've ever done, and I practiced for hours every day leading up to that. Where at Lille, I literally didn't play the game for 2 weeks. I don't know.
So you take it that was a 2-week gap coming in, and that can be like a benefit to depending on how you play, right? Like especially if you're going into, I liken it to, I know we can all relate to bodybuilding here, but in bodybuilding particularly, right? you can
I can super relate.
One of the things is you can peak like 2 weeks out, and then you gotta you got to kind of dial it down as you go, but you can not doing the work leading up to the tournament can actually be a benefit to you and mental rest and things of that nature. But were you playing regularly like before that before that gap? Are you like an everyday kind of guy? Like how seriously do you take? Do you practice with intent?
I mean, I do practice with intent, like, you know, I'm gonna play to figure something out usually. And as far as every day goes, not really, because you know, I don't play on TTS, and prior to that, Talishar was not something I was aware of. So I was playing the game as James White intended, in the flesh and blood. So I was only playing in person at armories or ProQuests or Road to Nationals, not skirmishes. I don't go to skirmishes. Not enough free tendies at those.
No skirmish time?
Oh,
that's fair.
Skirmish season 1, there was lots of tendies. Oh.
Season 2 was also good, I believe, if I remember. But now it's like, the $30 promo for top 8. Blitz.
Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. Paying $40 into some of these events and not coming out.
Can I bitch for a second?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Holy shit! This had better not happen again. There were so many stores that I went to last season that like charged like an insane amount for entry fee for the ProQuest and stuff or roads, and then put nothing into prizing.
Yep.
Just straight. Well, you got this cold foil that you're getting. I don't need to put anything in the prize, bro. That costs you nothing. Put money into the prizing.
Yep.
Quit being cheap.
No,
that's how people don't come back to your store.
Yeah. I feel that because I know we go to some of the same stores for some of these events, and I know there's a couple of them for me, right? No matter what, it's like an hour drive wherever I go, and you know, and even that, it relatively speaking, it's not that far, but it's far enough where I can be irked by not getting. And give me a participation prize. I don't
something, anything. I'd even be fine if it was all door prizes. I don't care. Put anything into the prizing. Anything. One of them charged us like $30 for entry, and it was CC. So it's not even like, it's like a sealed or draft or something. So like, okay, that makes sense. Money's got to go towards the packs that you're playing with. And then literally nothing went into prizing. So he just 100% profited everything. And then there wasn't even anything in the store worth buying. So it's like, what? How did the store even like get a thing? Like,
right? How do you become a was it LSS eligible store at that point, right?
Yeah. Sorry, side tangent.
Okay. That actually brings me to a side topic I wanted to bring up. We have.
Did you want to talk about the playtesting thing anymore?
Well, this might tie in a little bit to it. You talked about cultivating the local scene in your area specifically, but across Northeast, there is a pretty strong showing, right? I think the LGSs are a little far and few between, but the concentration of quality player seems to be pretty good.
It's crazy.
You're neck deep in this stuff. Compare the New England / Northeast scene to the other competitive regions of Flesh and Blood. How well do they stack up nationally and internationally?
We have like 10, 15 people in like the top 100 ELO in the area. That's insane. Like, but like New England's like always been that case for like Magic and stuff too, where it's always had this like density of really good players. I can't like really speak for all the other areas necessarily, like specifically, because like I'm not that researched in like where in the country every like person's from. But just like, you just look at the leaderboard and you go through all the US players for like all the different leaderboards, and you're like, how many of these are from New England? That's crazy. But I love that because it's just so much fun going to these. And just playing against all these like top players where it's like as hard as a calling sometimes. At Indy,
it's very difficult to play.
at Indy, when we went back to the hotel, me and Cody were joking. The Swiss at the calling was easier than like our locals because it's like back-to-back rounds of calling top 8 people. where it's like,
sure,
every round you're like, ah, shit, this person, ah, shit, this person, ah, can I get one easy game?
No, it's true. It feels like there are no easy games in New England these days, especially once you get into the things like the ProQuest level event. You have
I love it though; it's so fun.
It really, I mean, if you can make it here, you can make it anywhere, right? You have a friend, a partner, a comrade in James Silver, who at one time I feel like he had 1,000 XP on the 90-day going on there. I'm just interested. What is who is James Silver to you? And talk a little bit about your friend here.
I mean, do you want him to say hi?
Is he around?
Yeah.
Sure.
Hey, Jamie, you want to come over here and say hi? They're asking, who the fuck is James Silver?
James Silver, welcome to the Combat Chain. How you doing?
Hey, pretty good. Just sitting over there picking orders, listening to half a fucking conversation.
He's got to turn the speakers on. I was just asking.
Do you want the echo? Do you want the echo?
Do not turn the speakers on.
We do not want the echo. It's just like, all right. Well, Jen, since I have you, we noticed that you were on the leaderboard, kicking ass all over the place. I know you guys. I was joking that you had about 1,000 XP in the 90-day at some point here. It was pretty close.
That was, I think, back when I was talking about with Indy, where we're like 20 per XP. I think that was literally that.
Well, I, unlike him, go to more armories and all the skirmishes, and then I win half of them. So
yeah, you go to like all the skirmishes.
Yeah, like this weekend I got like 30 XP because I won 2 back-to-back Dynasty weekend things. So.
But then we also went to things on the weekdays. So we went to like 4 things this week.
Yeah.
We play a little bit of Fab.
Yeah, a little bit.
a little bit. Between the two of you, who wins more? You guys have to face off all the time. Who gets the best of who?
Do you have Living Legend points?
I do. I have a lot of.
So technically, he wins more.
Locally, I win. Like if Joe Cologne doesn't go to something, I win.
Our win rate into Joe is like 10-20%.
But we always bring the deck he just auto wins to. So it's usually just we sit down. It's not even a competition of skill. It's just paper versus rock. Okay, good game. I have Living Legend points. Whatever. I haven't topped as many things. I just got top 64 worlds. He scrubbed out. So, you know.
He did. He certainly did, and you did not. Congratulations! That's your second top 64. If I hit top 64 New Jersey as well.
Yeah.
That does bring. You know what? Well, if I can steal you for one more moment, I'm gonna skip around a little bit. So, right, we've just concluded. There's a couple Battle Hardened, Philly Battle Hardened. I think Hong Kong will conclude 2022. James, while I have you, 2023. What's that look like to you competitively?
Go to every event in the U.S. It's not a Battle Hardened, but it's like bigger than a battle, like all the calling.
At least all the stuff that's like reasonable flying distance.
Yeah, where's my goddamn Battle Hardened Worcester? Like give
me something. Give me something here. Give me a calling Boston. Give me a calling Providence. Something in the area. I don't know if it was
Fireball or Star City, but they would have an event every year for Magic in Worcester. Like we could fucking walk to it. Why aren't they doing that for Fab?
That is a very good question.
Yeah.
Well, probably because it's Channel Fireball doing most of the events, not Star City.
Whatever, man.
Star City
was running. Star City ran the last Battle Hardened, and I mean they have their hand in tournaments.
Star City did your guys' nationals, I think, this year.
They also did Indy. Like they'll do stuff, but it's not like that.
They hate New England. They're based at fucking Virginia, and they just won't
confirm hate New England.
Yeah, we had that one event during the last competitive season that was in like Syracuse, and that was when we went to store up in Maine. But it was go to a sealed event for Uprising. That sounds like a horrible time, and then double it up with. Like maybe one ProQuest or RTN, whatever.
Yeah, we went to 2 RTNs that weekend.
Yeah, like it was like bad EV, and then all 8 players that topped that played sealed Phi, which I was like, yep, bad. We already knew that was bad.
Mm-hmm.
But like if that was in Worcester, I wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah. Well, we could have also still done roads at the same time.
Yeah.
Because it was a Saturday, Sunday. We did 2 different roads.
Yeah.
So we could have gone to the Battle Hardened on one day and then.
Yeah. But other than that, like, I don't know. I want to travel, but we did so much traveling.
Yeah.
This year, like past 3 months.
Killed the bank account.
Yeah.
I feel that.
Right. So it's a tough question to ask. Like, is it sustainable though? I mean,
I top aided Lil.
The hobby is.
I top aided Lil, and we lost money on traveling.
Yeah.
Because like I got like what $3,000 for cash from that. And the flights were like what, like 1,200 round trip each,
something like that. But we were also there for.
But no. Yeah. Just like let's just take the cost of like the 4 or 5 days we would theoretically be there.
Yeah,
it's like 2,400 for the 2 of us to go, plus all the hotels and food and Ubers and stuff like that. Like it was so much money.
Yeah.
So like.
And I played in Pokemon Worlds the weekend before Lil in London. So we like went an extra week, and I went 5-1-2 and somehow didn't make fucking day 2. Like that's ridiculous.
That is tough. That is tough.
Yeah, I went 5-3 day 1 at Worlds and topped that. So like at Fab.
Yeah.
So.
Oh well.
Are there any other trading card games, James, that you have reached the highest level at this year?
No.
Force of Will.
Yeah.
The Force of Will guy. All right.
Yeah, Force of Will TCG. I went to Worlds in 2018. Banner.
Yeah.
All right.
Only they can see it.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
That's why I pushed you out of the way today.
But yeah, so this is 3 card games now I've gone to Worlds.
Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good. All right. We're off the rails. James, we'll have to have you on your own one of these days coming up soon, so that you don't have to share the limelight with this guy over here. But thank you for appearing onto the cast.
Get out of here.
Go back to.
You're fired. Go back to picking commons.
All right, we're back on the rails. Thank you for bringing James onto the pod.
Surprise guest.
There is a vicious blood feud brewing between yourself and Michael Hamilton and Roger Bodie from the Manor Cast. Tell me what they did to earn your ire. How much do you hate them? And Bodie asks, how does he plan on improving his matchups against Michael and Roger in 2023?
I wake up in a cold sweat every night thinking about that natty fused rainbow oaken off the top. Just I've never gotten a good night's sleep since.
Is it you obviously have you've had the opportunity to play him a few times now. I said you had mentioned in social media you're 1-1 against the world champ.
So at Indy, I played Michael once in Swiss and once in the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Beat him in Swiss finals. I entered the game. And then Roger, I played in the first round of day 2 at was it Charlotte? I forget the place now.
That was Charlotte. Yeah.
What I need for both of them is to get better sleep and to be able to play better earlier in the day, because I was not fully awake for both of those games. I played a terrible game against Roger. I felt bad. I kept I didn't bring AB, and he was playing Boltlander. Yeah. And I kept pitching to AB and then looking down at the board and going, I don't have AB. I'm going to put that card back in my hand.
It's a sad moment. Yeah. Sure.
Oh, man. Yeah, I don't know. It's rough for me because we have like a backward sleep schedule. I go to bed at like 3 a.m. and then wake up at like noon. Just like that's my natural. Like I'm a night person. So all of these tournaments, it's so rough waking up this early in the morning. Yeah.
That's
California has been the first tournament I've ever gone to where it was actually on my sleep schedule. I was like, oh, I don't have to change what I'm doing. The time zone difference lines up perfectly.
Right, was enough that you're back. You're back on the saddle. Excellent.
So I scrubbed out instead.
Yeah.
I hope I can play them more. They're both great people. I'm having a great time with Roger at all. So we're becoming new friends because our names are close alphabetically for the last name. So we always sit near each other for the players meeting.
Excellent. Yeah, I've noticed that you kind of there's kind of a camaraderie in the players meeting tables. The more of these that we go to, it is alphabetically. It's always going to be like the same group. So you sit down and hey guys, hey, all right, nice to see you again. Hope I never run into you during the event. Kind of deal. So tell me about some of these highlights. You went to World, you went to Lille. What has been the non card playing like highlight of your career in 2022 so far?
Not counting my IRA welcome deck game with Jacob.
Yes,
because that was definitely a highlight.
That is a good point. Yes. Yep.
God.
And I mean, not to put the pressure on you, just share some of your travel experiences with us.
Honestly, a lot of my best moments were game adjacent, like just games that led to great stories. Like I had a great one with I think his name is Josh Lau, the Dory guy.
Yep.
We had
previous guest on the pod.
Funny guy. I had a great moment with him in one of our games. We had an audience, and then we had a great moment during the game, and the whole audience started going crazy because he was playing to like a one outer off of a glint, and then he hit the one outer, and then he's like, "Oh my god, I can win the game!" And then I just said, "No, it doesn't matter. I have another sink below an arsenal," and it was a great moment.
Where was that in Charlotte?
Yeah.
I think
you probably, if you were there, you heard it.
Yes, yep, for sure. Definitely heard that happen.
3 judges came over and yelled at us to shut up because we were so loud.
Fun sucking judges.
The Fab Unsealed stream, that was super awesome. Getting to open a box of alpha. If you guys viewers haven't seen that, go check out Fab Unsealed. And just talking to all the people that were opening, because he had a lot of interesting people. Getting to hang out with
Jacob Bertrand, I believe, right?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Jacob Bertrand, I believe, was floating around in there as well, right?
I think so.
In the Unsealed, Hawk from Cobra Kai.
Oh yes, he was. Yep.
Yeah. He's got long hair in real life. He doesn't have a full mohawk. But he was definitely.
I do recall it. I had no idea who he was. I didn't know he was quote unquote famous. I'm standing next to Tyler Broaden, and Tyler's like, "Do you know who that is?" And I'm like, "No." And he's like,
"It's the Paramore guy."
Say again?
Is that the Paramore guy, the singer guy, or whatever?
No. Cobra Kai, the Netflix show. Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid, the Next Generation Karate Kid. A spiritual sequel. It's got Ralph Macchio. Oh God, really?
I'm gonna have to Google this later. I'm bad with names.
Oh, okay. How about the Karate Kid, 1984?
I know the original Karate Kid. Yeah.
Okay, all right. So, long story short, they made Cobra Kai, which is a spiritual sequel that was in YouTube, starting in 2020, that shifted over to Netflix, but it focuses on Johnny Lawrence, the antagonist of the first Karate Kid movie, as an adult trying to revitalize his home dojo of Cobra Kai. One of the upcoming students in the Cobra Kai dojo is a fighter named Hawk that is played by Jacob Bertrand. In real life, so he's mostly a EDH guy. Actually, they hang around the Command Zone guys a lot. But it was very interesting to see somebody coming over to the Flesh and Blood side of things and seeing poking their head in there.
Hope we get more of those. Hopefully, maybe Olivia will do some content for the.
Right, I thought it would be nice to have some. I'd like the people who have the preview cards of a high profile kind of jump in a little bit. I feel like when they show their preview in the middle of an EDH game and then move on with their lives, it's a little.
Wait for
sad.
PVE. Wait for PVE.
I feel like there's a lot. You guys had a nice chat about PVE. I feel like there is a ton riding on it being good for everybody.
It kind of has to be like,
right. Like, but how large is the specter that looms over the execution here of PvE? Because realistically, what we're talking about is the game of Flesh and Blood has been sustained in the competitive player base, but you need the casual crowd in order to scale up, right? And Magic was successful with that, and they went so far they got into the black hole, and now they're according to Bank of America, they're on their way down.
Report. That's hilarious.
I think it just needs to be good enough, because like board game players in general are like usually willing to try anything, play whatever, and then like a lot of EDH players, it's not about the game, it's about spending time with their friends and socializing, and it's a backdrop, it's an excuse to hang out and play. The game itself doesn't actually matter, at least in my experience with a lot of EDH players. And like, they care about EDH, but like it's really about the spending time with friends. So like, if all of their friends were playing PvE, they'd probably be like, peer pressure, I guess I'll play too.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a more user-friendly experience, not having to worry about your opponent's alpha cold foils lining up on their equipment slots. All right, moving on. We're going to keep going down here. I'm just going to lead it in with our next community question from Darth Prentice. Greg asks, Pheano's been dipping his toes in podcasting as a co-host on Attack for 20. Love to know how they've enjoyed that and what they've learned as a podcast host.
I've learned that I really enjoy podcasting. I enjoy I love talking about the game. Mm-hmm. I don't know if I've learned anything specifically about host. I'm just talking. This is no different than normal. I'm not. This is just how I am normally. So like, I've learned that I think I want to start my own podcast. Point. I guess a little spoiler for anyone that's watching this. I'm working on doing this. So I saw Mashi so many times at Worlds that it made me nostalgic for Top 8 MTG. So I think I want to start a Top 8 Fab YouTube segment. Bring it back. I got a place set up to do it already. I need to get the fake or dead tree to go in the middle. Any old fans of Steel Humphrey? We're going to have Arclight Humphrey. It's going to be a Christmas tree. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. It's going to be fun. Hopefully it'll be nostalgic, because like this game's like really geared towards like old Magic players. So hopefully a lot of people will remember that from the old days.
That actually kind of that brings us into my next question. I am content. You're aspiring to open a podcast. You have video aspirations. You already have a relatively substantial following on YouTube. Before my time, I don't know what you were doing with that, but apparently you got 3,000 subscribers on your YouTube. Are you leveraging that existing audience into the new content sphere? And is there plans beyond the top 8 and the podcast coming into the near future here?
Oh, I want to try going into full-time content if I can. Again, I'm just every day doing this game. So like whatever, if I can do that, I will. Like I enjoy that. I used to enjoy doing that a lot. I've been meaning to do it sooner, but like we've had so many back-to-back major tournaments that I haven't had time to like sit down and do that. It's like, would I rather practice or work on a video? That number's Fugazi though. It's all old subscribers from when I was an old guard YouTuber back in the day. Most of those people don't watch anymore.
What were you doing?
Yu-Gi-Oh videos.
Oh, all right. Oh, is that your old competitive card game, Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah. Don't watch those videos. They're bad. I want the views, but not that bad. Cringe.
Excellent. Let's talk about. I have gone all over the place here, so I gotta figure out where I'm gonna go next here. I think to round out Flesh and Blood competitive conversation after the content, because that's how logical structure of conversation works. I'm gonna ask you.
I believe you.
You found just go with it. I think I said it confidently.
Okay, I believe you.
You have found an incredible amount of success at all levels of competition so far in Flesh and Blood. What has been the major factor that you believe has contributed to a sustained high level of play for this long so far?
I think it was just like I had honed my craft with Prism, honestly. Like I was a Prism one trick. I don't know. It's not like I don't think I am anything. I'm solidly average, but I think that as time goes on, like it's going to be one of those moments where you look back and you're like, wow, I can't believe these players were the best at that time. Like, people are just going to eclipse the current player level of good players. I don't think I'm anything special. I think I was just very good at Prism. Like, I understood how to play the sub game and how to punish my opponent when they made a mistake. And Prism's like a deck that really punishes mistakes or missteps. Like, oh, you weren't allowed to have a single turn of whiffing the go again. Now you lost the game on the spot. There really isn't a deck like that right now that like punishes, and I enjoy playing Punisher decks. Like Icelander kind of does, but not in the same way. The game doesn't snowball off of a single punishment. Usually, it's like it snowballs into I dealt another 4 to 8 damage.
Now that Prism's gone, I know you played Dromai at Nationals. Are you sticking with Illusionist, or where are you putting all your marbles currently?
Dash looks like a lot of fun if the mech thing works. No one at the Battle Hardened was playing the mech, which breaks my heart, but it looks like a lot of fun, and I kind of want to try that out. I just want to scream every round, "Get in the mech, Dash!"
Yeah.
Probably
Dash,
gonna place.
Dash did win.
Yeah.
But
they weren't playing the mech, so was it really?
No. It was a very, very, very clean looking aggro boost.
Yeah.
Less leveraging harpoons and I believe jump starts and crankshafts.
I don't think the reality is just knowing the Blitz format and knowing like even looking at like Prism's difficulty with playing auras in Blitz, like just with I have a feeling the mech requires using your life as a resource to set up to some extent. And I just don't know if that's doable in Blitz.
Blitz?
Or was the Battle Hardened CC?
Yeah.
Yep. CC?
Oh, okay. Well, I'm just gonna foot in mouth.
Redacted.
Oh, redacted. The Battle Hardened Philly was won by a Rose Smith, who is a bud. We're tangential buds. In the Buds Discord, Rosie's a big presence there. So congratulations to them on the victory there. Yes, round of applause for Rosie. Cleaning house on Dash. Pheano Dynasty has been released. We were talking a little before off the air. You're not really interested in much going on in the set. Tell me why that is.
I mean, I'm not really interested in many of the decks in the game right now. I don't like the current design space of things. It feels like since this like past format, after like the bans and everything that happened, of like Prism LLing, It feels like the game's really just evolved into presenting the most numbers on cards possible. Like the game's always technically been that, but it just feels like flipping over the top, say 25 cards of your deck or whatever, and just adding up the numbers, and that will sometimes be who wins the game. And I don't feel like that's interesting. Like you're playing an Icelander, it's just like, okay, how many 8s do I get to attack with? How many times do I get to block 6 or whatever? Just add up the numbers, and that's okay. I won the game. It's obviously deeper than that and more than that, but like the moment to moment gameplay feels like that a lot of the time, where it's just like you look at your hand and you're like, yep, block for 6, attack for 8. That's more than their number. That's kind of boring to me. I don't feel like there's as many impactful turn to turn decisions being made as there were before. I can't really pinpoint why it feels that way. And that could have always been that way. And like I was playing Prism, so like it never feels that way. Like the math of your cards is just so weird. But like the game's always been that, but we had like way more value things going on, way more synergy and combos. So like you're like trying to set up things and do specific lines. And then like that's not what's going on right now. Like you play Fi, you're just like, yep, here's all my 0 for 3s, maybe a 1 for 4, and then like, okay, cool, I found the Art of War. That's the only card in the deck that matters. Where like before you had like these crazy high synergy rounds that would happen. You're playing like a Viserai or something, and you're playing for that. You're like, okay, here's my 30 damage round. Nothing else mattered other than this. I don't know. It feels very uninteresting to me right now. I don't want to just play numbers on cards. I want to like have interesting interactions between things. I'm probably going to go back to Dromai for a while because it's the only thing that like feels like something more than just numbers on cards.
What kind of design space would pique your interest outside of if it's not here already? Where would you like the game to go for you to kind of get out of bed and be like, hey, all right?
I mean, I think the game's balanced right now, and that's like part of why it's not interesting. Like it's too balanced, which might change with the new set. Like I haven't like really watched the new set yet. But
so I'll tell you what's so interesting about your thoughts here is that I feel like it is a divergent opinion from what the general consensus, at least I've heard is, and it is intriguing as all shit here to hear you actually say these words, because it seems like you're the 1 out of 10. You know what I mean? There's 9 out of 10 people think it's in a great spot right now, but here we are.
The game is in a great spot right now. It is balanced. Does that lend itself to a good gaming experience? Like if everyone's playing a fair game, then is that interesting? You need a bit of the balancing factor sometimes of someone trying to break the game and then you playing to stop them from breaking the game. And then, sometimes the rock, paper, scissors is a good thing. It lends itself to interesting games where we're all playing different game plans. It feels like everyone is playing some form of the same game plan right now. And if we're all just playing French vanilla versions of the same game plan, is that interesting? It's balanced as shit, but is that interesting? I don't find that interesting. Like it'd be like playing Magic and we're only playing 2/2 bears. That's not interesting.
You're running the bear commander.
Now we have bear synergy. Now it's a French vanilla bear. Now it's interesting.
I do feel like there probably is like when it comes to like flesh and blood design, there's probably this like little knob, and like on the far right of the knob, the setting is chess, and on the far left the setting is, I don't know, what's the most ridiculous game you could think of?
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, sure, because Yu-Gi-Oh does ridiculous
chess or
shit.
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah, and we were going towards Yu-Gi-Oh, and then James was like, "Whoa, we got to turn the knob to the right," and so now we've gone more towards chess, and some people love it, and some people don't love it so much, and then maybe Now that we're through Dynasty, like we've gotten the tail end of this design space. Now the knob's probably going to be turned a little more towards the Yu-Gi-Oh side again, and we're going to ride that wave, and eventually we'll find this happy medium in the middle. I hope.
Yeah. I was been talking about this for the past couple of weeks with my group of friends. I think actually what would have fixed it was Belittle going away, which is probably like not what people would immediately think. Because like, oh, Belittle's gone. Ice is going to be too powerful. Yes, that's, in my opinion, that's the level 1 of it. If you remove Belittle, the aggro decks can no longer just ignore Ice doing its Ice thing. Then Ice would overtake the aggro decks. But then if it's just an Ice meta, then that lends itself very well to people playing more mid-rangey style decks that can outvalue a control deck, because a control deck typically gives up value for interaction and control. Like, oh, if I'm going to give you a Frostbite, I lose out on damage on my card effect. Where if you're playing against someone that's just playing a fair game and they're just presenting numbers on cards, they don't care about the interaction. They're just going to punch you in the face anyways. The Frostbite was never material. The aggro decks existing, like Phi, really push out these mid-range decks from being able to function, which turns it into like just a rock and paper meta of you're either playing hyper aggro with Belittle or you're playing Ice decks that are trying to stop the hyper aggro deck, and there's really no room for anything else in between. You know, looking at the calling, you may disagree from with like Rhinar winning and such, but I don't know. It's always weird looking at callings when you're looking at a major event in a major event where it's like, okay, Worlds is going on and Calling's going on. Those metas can get weird.
Sure.
Because, like, you know, you got basically the people that are playing that are ones that dropped from Worlds, so maybe it's a weird meta for that. Not to take away, it's just like that's always like a consideration.
No, absolutely, right. I mean, we talk on here a lot about how when you're preparing, if you're preparing for that high level event, right? If you take those early losses in the rounds and you submarine in, your testing might go right out the window because you're in the weird parts now, right?
So as Josh,
but you can also get that
off book.
Yeah. Yes. Yep.
You also get that though at things like Worlds and Nationals draft first, and I actually have more a problem with that. I think it needs last, because when you have draft first, it doesn't self-correct, pushing people out of the metagame that don't belong there. And then you'll have someone go 3-0 in draft, but just bring this pile of shit deck that like has no business there. And then they play against someone that, like, you know, and by all rights, they were probably favored to win the entire event. And then they just play against some random nonsense, and they're like, what the hell is this? And then they just get crushed because they face some random bullshit.
Absolutely. Yeah. You get the anti-meta deck through obscurity more than necessarily prepping for what's going on there. All right, let's see what I got going on here. I feel like I'm barely hanging on. I think that really covers in. I'll tell you what. I have been. This is just a rant for myself. My work has picked up like tremendously, right? So I'm also a dad. I've been burning the candle on both ends for way too long, and it's been showing up for weeks. So I apologize to everyone who's listening. My stammer is super bad right now because I'm constantly tired, and there's no way around it. It happens when I stammer, and it gets worse, and my focus is also lost when I get tired, and there's just, it's either that or quit the pod for a time being, and we're not doing that. So you get me just rickety on the rails, and seeing where we go here. So I do appreciate everyone's patience.
Didn't even notice.
Continuing. I noticed it so fucking much. I re-listened to every episode, and I hate myself.
When you rewatch your own content, you're always going to be over.
But it's going to be and now that no one's going to notice until right now, and now they're going to be like, what's he talking about? But then also,
if through your sacrifice everybody gives us one extra listen, I am
Yeah, right.
Or
right.
one extra
There we go.
view.
There we go. Hey, listen for the substance, and then listen for all the weird quirks in my vocal tics there. All right. With that being said,
clickbait.
yeah, right. With that being said, I think we can call it a wrap here before I really just jump off the deep end. Pheano Black, thank you so much for coming on to the pod. It has been a pleasure, and this is your opportunity here to plug whatever the hell you going on. Where can we find you? Shout out the links, shout out your handles, do it all.
First of all, thanks for having me. I'd love to come on again sometime. It's been a pleasure talking with you boys. My Twitter, my everything is just fucking Pheano or Pheano Black. Twitter, YouTube. That's like mostly what I use. Follow me on Twitter for the memes. Follow me on YouTube if you want some like analytical game content stuff. I am going to be, like I said, trying to do some podcasty things. I want to start doing some segments too on teaching the game on an intermediate level. I kind of had that thought like a number of months ago where I'm like, I just keep repeating myself to all these new players, telling them like all these like different things of my teaching to them. And I should just put it in video form instead of like all the different things that I teach. So I'm probably gonna be doing that at some point of like not the basics of how to play the game. So like, okay, you got the basics down. What's the next level? How to understand turn cycles, pitch stacking, all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Work in progress. That'll be coming out at some point in the near future. Don't hold me to that though. But yeah, YouTube, Twitter, Pheano Black.
I did mean to ask you. Pheano Black is such an interesting name. Where does that? What is the country of origin here? What is?
It's just a username I made a long time, and it just stuck. It's not my real name.
What is Pheano's real name? Are you comfortable sharing?
If you care, you can just check my Facebook.
Okay.
All right.
I don't like going by my real name, so
that's fair. Fair enough.
It's not a big deal. I don't care for it. Why would you let someone else choose your username in life?
That's so good. I've been trying to get my wife to call me Pat Smash Good for some time now. I think we're rounding the bases here. She's starting to come around. Love you, Ashley. All right, time for the.
One of my friends, his username on Twitter was Nicky. I just call him that in every interaction.
The mic cut out right as you said it, so I didn't hear it. You actually.
It was censored. His username was that inappropriate.
It did. It cut out. It cut out right on the punchline.
Nicky D VGC.
Excellent.
I just call him that in all interactions.
That's fair. I wish there's so many Discord users that like I talk to on a regular basis that if I walked up to them, I would have no idea. I could not pick them out of the lineup. They could introduce themselves as whatever name, and if I don't hear that Discord handle, I have no idea who you are. I wish we could go to these events with name tags that just says, "Hi, I'm Pat / right Discord username." So
I would appreciate that greatly because I can't retain names or faces. It is such a problem for me. People introduce themselves to me 6 times and I'll be like, I still don't remember, bro. I'm sorry. I'm stupid. I'm just stupid.
Well, and it really is. I am the same way. I can't do.
Actually, something we did at Canadian Nats Year 1 was we all introduced ourselves with our Discord handles, and like we had the little paper name tags that we wrote down our Discord handle, and so it was just everybody was going around and like, oh, you're so and so. It was hilarious. It's like real names didn't matter. It was based off just how we all knew each other.
Then you get people like people trying to abuse it. You get like Matt W changing his name to whatever the hell's on the top of the gem leaderboards there, screwing everybody up.
Well,
all right. Okay.
That was a funny meme.
Enough. All right. We got to wrap it up here. The Combat Chain. Combat Chain is on YouTube. You can find us if you search the Combat Chain. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell notification to know when the latest episode is uploaded. We have recently moved our podcast hosting platform. We were on Buzzsprout. We moved it to RSS. And while we do that, we're working out the kinks to make sure we are still available wherever you choose to stream your podcasts. The best way to support us is through our Patreon. You can find us at www.patreon.com/thecombatchain and can subscribe to us there. It is a single tier, and it helps us tremendously to keep the lights and mics up and running. We'd love to shout out our patrons here. Clark J, Eugene C, Devin, Tyquius, and Arcfire, thank you very much for your support. And you can find us on Twitter, of course. The channel's handle is @thecombatchain. You can find me @PatSmashGood, and you can find Adam @FomTooleryTCG. Now, Pheano, we have one more piece of business before we call it a day here.
Can I just go open my packs already? Oh my God, what do you want now?
I'm sorry, I know. It's like the fade to black, and then the encore, and then the fade, and then the encore. We close out every podcast with a simple phrase, and we'd like you to join in that. I am going to say, until next week, and we're all going to say in unison, in perfect harmony, we're closing the combat chain. Is that something you can do with us?
Of course.
Excellent. All right. Thanks again to Pheano Black for joining the combat chain this week. We really appreciate having you on. And Adam, I think that is going to do it for us here. So, until next week, we're closing the combat chain.
Closing the combat chain.
Wait, that's good enough. That's
perfect.
That's
one of the beauty and the charm of it is like just
it's one take.
Unfold.
That's it. No backsies. On 3 or after 3 doesn't matter. We're rolling with it, and that's it. We're good.
Pheano, thanks so much, man.
Wrap.
Hey.